So we're here at Amaru Muru, which means the doorway of the serpent, or the Catholics call it the Devil's Doorway. It's a really interesting site. It's between Puno and the Bolivia border. It's got a fascinating look about it. It's one of these sort of doorways to nowhere that you find in Turkey and other places around the world. Some people say it has a tunnel behind it that goes all the way to Cusco. There's actually an opening at the very back of it. But what's really interesting is that it's red sandstone, the magnetic type, so it's got energetic qualities that could raise consciousness or affect your pineal gland. And you can see the doorway there, it looks like it should be used in knelt-in, and so I think Andrew's going to try and do that, see if anything happens, see if he disappears into another dimension. There's been reports of lights around here, strange lights coming in and out of the doorway, hence this is why the Catholics called it the Devil's Doorway. But we came here a year or two ago and there's a lot of energy here, a lot of dowsing, sort of masculine in the middle and feminine on the two side parts. Glenn Broughton and some other dowsers were working here, so it's a fascinating site. Well worth a visit if you're going between Puno and Bolivia. And it's a real energetic site, you can really feel it's a beautiful sort of Martian-like landscape. So Amaru Muru, or the Devil's Doorway, please come and check it out. It's a very, very interesting place.
Okay, we're at the famous portal or gate side of Amaru Muru here in Peru, and the first thing I noticed on the approach to this site is that there's a natural archway just on the rocks just above it, just as you come into the zone, and I think that is significant, and it could well be that this gate is like some kind of manufactured representation of that same archway. But when we look at the archway itself, we can see this T shape here, which has been cut into this sandstone rock. You have two like ledges here, which almost certainly you would put your hand down on each one and face actually into the rock, as we were shown by a indigenous Inca shaman. And right in the center, in the area where the forehead would be, is a small little hole or an indentation, which is the same as the hole in the center of the Chicana cross, which was said to be the point of entry of cosmic energy or cosmic spirit into the self, or into this middle world. And I think that that's exactly what people would have done in the past, just as we've seen indigenous shamans doing, is that they put their hand down on each side and put their forehead so that these energies would actually be received into you, and probably during an altered state of consciousness you would be able to project your own soul or spirit through that hole into the rock and out into some kind of otherworldly environment. You know, whether it's seen as the underworld or whether it's seen as the sky world, obviously that's a matter of debate. And of course, obviously this has become a very famous site over the last 20-30 years. One of the most famous New Age Peruvian locations that you will see. So obviously now I think what we should do is actually go over there and try this ourselves and see what happens. Right. So obviously here we are, and the whole idea is that it fits the human form, so that we're able to go down on our knees here, put one hand here or one hand there, or even, as we were shown, possibly even your elbows, although that seems to be a little bit too much as far as the length. And then put our heads down here. I'll take my hat off for this, I think, and put the forehead, the position of the third eye of course, right into the hole, and try and project yourself through the rock and see what you might see, go wherever you might want to go. Now clearly, obviously, this is something that I think you would need to do in a more relaxed state of mind, or at the right time of day, maybe even on the right time of year. But the idea is there. Quite clearly that hole is about connecting between this world and the other, allowing the spirit of ourselves to project through that into other environments, other worlds, other existences, and allowing the energy to come through there into our own heads. And this is exactly the role of the hold stones at Göbekli Tepe, which are over 11,000 years old, prominently positioned in the north within the two largest enclosures that have been uncovered so far, C and D, and I think that they represent exactly the same. And here is once again another connection between ancient Peru and the culture of Göbekli Tepe.
This is a local gentleman. Gustavo, can you ask him what this is?
Preguntan, ¿qué es esto? ¿Por qué es importante?
Había sido, pues, antiguamente siempre, había sido, mis abuelos nos contaban, ese que era un pueblo, una iglesia.
Okay.
Sí.
So their ancestors will pass this information from father to son basis, and they believed it was like a sanctuary, almost like a church.
And
Se ha convertido en piedra.
But it turned into a rock.
and who made it?
¿Y quién lo ha hecho?
Lo haya hecho, así siempre los incas haya hecho.
They think that the Incas might have done it.
Uh-huh.
But he says that by the legend says that it was a big important sanctuary, but it turned into a rock. Into a
Okay.
stone.
And what about the lights that come in and out at night?
Y las luces que se encuentran en la noche, ¿qué es eso?
Dice que antiguamente era una iglesia, entonces de esta iglesia dice que salía matrimonios. Esta piedra está convertida como es matrimonio.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, he's saying basically that since it was a church before, they used to celebrate weddings here, and it was all part of the celebration. So they believe that the lights that you see at night is all part of the celebration. It's like the ceremony that's typical on a wedding.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
En malas noches sabe abrirse esta iglesia porque sabe alumbrar acá.
They call the bed night. I'm just translating. It says on the bed night, the church opens, and that's where you see the lights coming out of it, and they're afraid about that.
Why do they call it a church?
¿Por qué era una iglesia?
Porque una iglesia dice que dice que por malas noches sabe abrirse, dice.
Okay.
Entonces hay los músicos de allá. Este era un camino irador, entonces la convirtió como sabe bajar un caballero hacia allá. Entonces está para luz, ahí sí, entonces la contratado en los músicos venía de arriba, entonces entraba acá.
So it's a very strong superstition behind this. They believe during the wedding ceremony, they have the musicians, the local band that was celebrating the wedding, but they were not prepared, or they didn't believe on this. So they crossed the gate, and just after they crossed the gate, the whole door sealed with them in it.
So the musicians are still inside?
So the musicians still inside.
So the
Yes.
musicians turned to stone as such.
Yes.
That's a very similar tradition in England with Stanton drew stone circles.
Mm.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Hasta ahí no es. El otro está caballo cansado. Acá está eso,
He's talking about different
este hueco. caballo cansa este.
But that's another gate, which they call the tire horse. It's the gate that we saw in the way back in it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, muchas
And
gracias.
what does he know about the tunnel?
Hay otro lado.
¿Hay un túnel o algo acá?
Acá atrás está, dice que viene acá hasta, dice que va, algunos dicen que hasta Copacabana.
They believe that there's a tunnel that connects the gate all the way to Copacabana.
Okay.
That's what they.
Sorry. Could you say it again?
Okay. ¿Qué es el túnel? Es un túnel.
Es un túnel, es que está, es cosa, al otro, el otro no está. Acá atrás sí no está.
They believe there's a tunnel that connects the gate and it goes all the way down to Copacabana. Copacabana is way across, behind the mountains right there.
Can you ask him if there's any theories about one going to Cusco?
¿Hay alguna teoría que tenga que ver con Cusco? ¿Alguna teoría de esto con Cusco? No, no hay ninguna teoría.
No hay.
He's not aware of it.
Well, actually, Copacabana is more interesting
Yes.
because it's a shorter distance. It's more plausible, and that's where the Inca were based.
Ese lado también, igual.
They believe the tunnel has two sides. One part of the tunnel goes all the way to Pucara, and the other side of the tunnel goes to Copacabana.
Ah,
That's interesting.
And why was the tunnel blocked off?
¿Y por qué han cerrado el túnel? ¿No se sabe?
No, ahora está abierto, está oscuro porque parece no, tiene un nido para entrar, oscuro está.
People are very afraid, especially after what happened with the musicians. Nobody wants to go even near to that. They believe that we'll get trapped inside it.
Well, so they actually think that really happened with the magicians.
¿Ustedes creen que realmente eso ha pasado con los músicos? ¿Han desaparecido?
Sí, al menos los abuelos nos ha contado.
Okay, they said the grandparents told them that, and they knew the musicians, so they just disappeared.
And the tunnels are real.
Entonces los túneles son reales.
Sí.
Yeah.
Okay, gracias.
Gracias, muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Vaya.